Hi, it's Mark from Snooker Crazy. Just thought I'd do a really quick video on grain fillers at the moment. Obviously, it's the off season at the moment, and I'm getting loads and loads of queues in for refurbs, as I normally do. But what's quite evident is probably the timescales that people have got between refurbs. A lot of people don't even realise, but over time, obviously, the grain in the wood comes out, and you start to be able to feel it. I've only got two hands here, and it's difficult to do the video, otherwise I could show you, but generally I would pick this one up, run my nail round there, and you could feel all the grooves all the way around. This one's not bad, but what I will say, if I can get a decent shot, is it's at the point where although the grain fillers come out, and you could just about hear my nail going over it. In between that, you generally have the grain filler. All of it's come out on places like this. And then what happens if this is left a bit longer, all these lines of wood, they start to chip out. And then what you end up with is when you get these like arrows there, it's like a ski slope. So it would actually go like that. Now, on the top it's not so bad, but when you get on the bottom, and this doesn't have as many arrows, but when you get on these ones, then you get this bit there, the lighter colour bit, sits nice and hard, and these bits that tend to lose the grain first, this particular one's not as bad, but they lose the grain first, and then you end up with a chip out. So you end up with this like a ridge effect, so you end up feeling all of that all the way down, and where you get this area up there, which is used a lot, then you start to feel it all the time. So if you leave it too long, it can be a pain. Obviously, you can do things with that. I mean, you can sort of steam it a little bit and bring out a little bit more, and then I can fill that in, as I've done for some of the local players that are playing on the European circuit, if you like. I've done about 3 or 4 of those lately, World Seniors players, just to help build it back out and keep it smooth. But the longer you leave it, the more chip out you're going to get in these sort of areas, and it actually can leave sort of holes, which is an absolute pain. I can do little bits with it, and I can get it smooth, but underneath it doesn't look as great. But certainly, it's a gentle warning to anyone that wants to keep their cue long term, and they're frightened or don't have the time, so they don't want to go without it for a couple of weeks, to bring it in for grain filling or a refurb. But you really do want to think about at least having a look, and if you're at a point where it's really bad, like that must be rubbing on. This is one of the guys I know. This is actually pretty good condition apart from the grain filler, but that must be rubbing on his chin, I would imagine, for that all to come out. But even, you can't really see it there, but if I run that round my nail, it's difficult to do it with this blimmin' phone, but normally that would just chip all the way around. You can hear it going, rather than smooth. But so I've had quite a few in lately. And it's a Paris cue. For whatever reason, I've even had sort of newish ones in that are very similar. They've got the grain enhancer on it, so it looks lovely. But the grain is definitely going to wear away quite quick. I've had one in that was only a few days old the other day, so not quite sure what happened there. And I've got another one coming next week. The guys just bought it. But yeah, it definitely wants to be filled. If it's filled and it's smooth, then it protects it all the way around, really. How often should you do it? I think you should have, for minimum, you should have your queue in once a year to have a look. I'm not saying you'd always grain fill it, because it depends on the amount of use you got. But certainly, this particular one, just got a massive amount of grime off it, which is obviously well used queue, which is normal. And some of that even actually sits in the grain, which is interesting, until sort of obviously have to get that out. But I would definitely have someone look at your queue once a year. But if you're a player that's really serious, at the very least, just to keep the queue going. This is not a tout for work. I've got plenty of work. I've got too much work, to be fair. But it's just for those that maybe might leave it too long. You're taking a bit of a risk with your queue. I've had 2 that have been playing Europeans. Was it 2? No, it's 3 actually that came in, and their queues from very well-known players. Needed a fair bit of work, really. So obviously if your cue's that important, you really want to have someone that at least look at it on a regular basis. Anyway, just to show the importance of the grain filler, and then why not get it back smooth? It's not actually that expensive, so it doesn't take me too long. I mean, for the top players, I generally can turn it around in a couple of days if they get their timing right. For the ones that are playing all the time and obviously winning lots of money, so it's certainly something that I would think about a bit more often. And people rarely bring their cues in to have them oiled twice a year. That's a rarity, which has always surprised me. Anyway, there you go. So if you want your cues back smooth and that, you might want to have a good look at it and get it in the off season at least. So any urgent ones, then let us know. Catch you on the next video.